Okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be another one of those videos. I just played it back a little bit and I can hear it in the beginning. I don't know, it may, at some point during the video, it may cut out, which, you know, the way I see it is I'm working on my own, I've got enough problems of my own, and, you know, the great creator doesn't want me to do this, then I'm going to have these problems no matter what. It doesn't matter what I do, I will never succeed because he doesn't want it in this body at this time to happen. So it is what it is, and I'm just going to ride through with it. So let me talk about this Deportees. Now, my parents hail from the Caribbean, and they've been British citizens. And where they're from is an overseas territory. The mother country is England, or the UK, as many islands in the Caribbean are. But some islands have their independence. Apparently Barbados has its independence. Jamaica does have its independence. I think Trinidad does as well. Well, Jamaicans in this country, of all the islands, are the most populated. They're also the most boisterous. They're also the most cocky, feisty, in your face, infectious. You know what I mean? Most of the people I've known are friends, Jamaican, or of Jamaican parentage. But they're very Jamaican-y. They don't like criticism. They don't mind doing what they want to do and dirtying up what they want to do. But when you criticize them, they all come out, oy vey, oy vey, oy vey, just like Jews, right? Which is rather strange. Okay. And anybody who knows Jamaicans, they say, all Jamaicans in the house, creaming up, yeah, you know what I mean? They're all there, you know what I mean? And that's not to say they're bad people. They're people like any other people. But they can't deny their history. So as I'm going to talk about deportees. Now, black people have always been in the UK in one guise or another. But after World War II, Tory government and government ministers went to the Caribbean to coax people from the Caribbean to come to England to help rebuild the mother country. There was lots of work. Manufacturing was a boon, but they needed workers. And they wanted cheap labour, let's be honest. They don't want to pay the rates. That's why they opened the door, you know, to the Caribbean to come in. Cheap labour, and there was a lot of rebuilding of infrastructure because of the war needed to be done. So my parents came over. Many other people's parents came over. And of course, they had me and my siblings here. And thus I'm a son of the soil, born here. That's all I know. I've never been to my parents' place of birth. Others have in my family, I haven't. Anyway, they took citizenship. But when I was in school, a bunch of Jamaicans were really cocky because they thought they were independent. They used to run their mouth and call us small island. You know, small island. Like you don't know what you're doing, okay? A small island. You don't know what you're saying, okay? A small island. You're nothing. You're small island, cha. They pig, you know what I mean? And so they've got this kind of narcissistic way of viewing the world. Their suffering is like bigger than anybody else's. Oy vey, oy vey, oy vey. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, there's a Jewish synagogue. I mean, Jews were there before them Africans were there. I'll tell you that now. They got a 17th century synagogue right there. I doubt there's a church as old as that in Jamaica. But anyway, you tell a Jamaican that, you see how quick they start whistling and look elsewhere. Them is the biggest coots I know. You know what I mean? Serious. You listen to, you look at the pictures of some of their artists. And they can't stop freaking showing that. If it's not, if that one, all of these are Masonic signs. You know, they're all Masonic signs. I mean, and I admit, I saw a picture yesterday, and my brother's posing with it. Because he sings and all that. Everybody wants to be a singer, or a DJ, a rapper. And they watch these iconic pictures and they pose. But they don't realise what it means. I know my bro don't know what it means. But those guys in Jamaica know what it means, right? They've been puppeteered for the longest time. I wouldn't listen to them at all. I think that puppeteering started in earnest in 1868. The Monk Bay riot massacre, call it what you want. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I've grown up with these arrogant people, right? And you can grow up with arrogant people and understand how they are, who they are, and how they function, and how, you know, how they like to manipulate and use people. It's all good when you're praising them, but, you know what I mean, the first opportunity just in your back, sometimes in your front, they'll do it. But by and large, I've got great friends who are Jamaican. And that never crops up with us. No more than if we was having a beer and them say, oh, well, you know. You know what I mean? It would wash over my head, it wouldn't bother. I grew up with them, right? So I've heard it from them. And during the 80s, if you've watched that movie, Scarface, it tells you when Reagan opened up the door to the Colombians and Castro opened up these dirty jails and said, well, if you want them, take my criminal too. So a lot of people infiltrated and Tony Montana became one of those. What else? You know what I mean? Same thing with the Yardies. In the 80s, Thatcher did the same thing. Opened the door and all these Yardies came over, and that's when you had the shower posse and all of these guys coming over, and every city, this is what Jamaica exported. Forget the reggae music now, forget the ska, forget all the wonderful things you heard about Jamaica. What they exported as per person was a second wave of their nastiness. The first wave, they were on the boat, and they were jumping from cabin to cabin, fucking one another, right? Having sex in the cabin, you know. These are wives coming home, they're having sex in the cabin, gambling and knife fighting. That's what they do, coming over, right? So Granny would tell you, hey, listen, this is what they did. Not everybody, but most of them did that. I listened to Genesis Radio, and one of them talk about, oh, when our parents came over, they couldn't read. I'm like, speak for yourself. She's Jamaican. So a lot of them couldn't even read. What the frick are you coming over? You know what I mean? But that's just come. And most of them went to Brixton and places like that, right? Yeah, that's why Brixton is Jamaicans, right? So, anyway, so I've grown up with the arrogance, and, you know, some of them are funny, you know, I've got good friends. Listen, the truth is one of those things that you just have to take it, and it's not like, oh, you criticise me, you don't like me, no. If you look at the historical and review it, you'd have to say, yeah, we kind of like that still. Yeah, we did do that kind of still. Yeah, we did look at that. If you're honest, if you're not honest, then the fuck up. You're not my friend, I never was yours. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? I know people, and they know me. They kind of pretty much know. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, you don't have to. You know what I mean? Now, there's a lot of you know what I means going on. And let me just think about what I'm saying, because too much colloquialism doesn't make you an intelligent boy. So I've grown up with these descendants of Jamaica. But now, they weren't born in Jamaica. The people I know were not, by and large, were not, right? Because I've known some people that came, a couple in the 80s as well. And they're not the gangsters. And some in the 70s, they're not the gangsters. Because in 1-1s and 1-1s, they're okay. They can adapt and assimilate and understand the culture of where you are, you know what I mean, and what's going on, and listen to how it is, you know? But this bunch who came in the 80s and 90s and the 2000s, they don't listen to nothing. They think they know it all. So they come slinging. Every city had a front line. A front line. What's the front line? What's the front line? Was there a war going on? Yeah, there was a war going on. It was them, their weed and their cocaine, taking over street corners, and harassing people to buy their wares. It was horrendous. You couldn't walk down certain streets without these gangsters hanging out. One of my school friends who came from Jamaica back in the day, associated himself with these guys after we'd left school. He's Jamaican, they're Jamaican, they hang out, you get to understand, getting that drug thing. Next minute they shot him. You know what I mean? That's a friend of mine. You know what I mean? So, in that respect, a bit like the Irish, where's all the paddies at, as one guy said. And as soon as you fight, they got a reason to fight each other. You know what I mean? They just can't get on, you know what I mean? They just, you know what I mean? There you go. You know what it means again. The colloquialisms. So it's not a very good video, and I might not even post it. But if I do, it is what it is. So what's that got to do with deportees? Well, this arrogance of independence is a thing where people will come to this country and say to this country, screw you. For one route, you're racist. Why would you want to give up your citizenship for a racist one? Slavery, all white people, slavery. They listen to a station down South London called Galaxy Radio. I think it's 102.5 FM. They're based at Schubert Road, Peckham, I think it is. And it's run by two Jamaicans, ex-squaddies of the British Army. One of them's name calls himself Abu Jatata or Abu Ratata, and the other one is named Rennie. He used to call himself Bongo Tete, but now calls himself Chief Pakumbabai. Oh dear, everyone wants to give himself an exalted name. Never got school to learn a damn thing yet. Yet the man that can't read a text, let alone read a book, right? But these people, for the longest time, have got this radio station, pirate radio station, broadcasting week after week after week after week after week. And GCHQ knows everything that's broadcasted, but doesn't cut them off. Not enough. And when they did cut them off, is when a caller used to call in and mention Jews. No sooner did he mention Jews, that station was off the line. Down the line, they found a reason to fall out with the caller. But the guy used to just talk about things that Jews have actually done, like they are responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. Well, that radio station didn't want to talk about it, and still doesn't. It beats down on Jesus all the time. You have to ask yourself, why would you do that? So anyway, Deportees. That radio station hates England. Hates everything else. It's a race-based radio station. So last year there was a big hue and cry about Theresa May, when Home Secretary, saying in a memo or whatever it was, we want to make it hostile for the Windrush generation. The Windrush is the 1948 boat ship that first ferried over, if you will, passengers from the Caribbean to England. HMS Windrush. There may have been others, but that's the one that is associated with the influx of Caribbeans to England in the late 40s and 50s. That would be the first wave, if you will. But there's been another wave. There's been a 60s wave and so forth, you know what I mean? Where people came over and, people, but the welcome mat wasn't exactly welcome, okay? But a lot of people, it turns out, didn't get their citizenship. And I personally believe, and I would have said it at the time, I think I did years ago, just deport them. When these yardies were coming up doing up all this drugs and I was like, just deport them. Why are they here? But they were here long enough so they can shape the way the youth think and have introduced them to guns, knives, and now we've got the Wild West show, right? They wanted to poison the minds of the UK Brits, which they did. Up and down the land. It doesn't matter where it was, Bristol, London, everywhere these yardies went, they'd have a front, they're selling drugs, right? So that's what they exported. I've got no sympathy for them now that they're picking up what they planted and their music celebrating Gun Ponteet, Mr. Ninja Man. They used to bop to his music as well, but the bottom line is, the bigger picture is, what were you selling? Death and destruction. Is it any wonder what we see in Jamaica today is death and destruction? So, I got a WhatsApp today and I thought, no, I'm going to talk about that. So, they've got this coolie guy we call an Asian Jamaican, I believe he is. And he's going to interview, he sets it up and he's interviewing one of these guys who got deported. Now, the guy said he's 34, came over here when he's 14. If you do the maths, it's 2019. So, 2015 then. No, not 2015. 2005. He came over at age 14. He's now 34, he's got kids. Now, according to him, he got mixed up in, he did got convicted of a crime, and, you know, he got mixed up in the drug scene. And he was charged for possession of Class A drugs, £1,000 worth. The judge said something about anything to do with the 10,000 or less, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about your small little details. My thing is this. You didn't get caught up with the medical science and publishing your findings with a Lancet. You know, you never get caught up with that. You didn't get caught up with a university about your grades and how they were marking you down from an A, first class, to no, it wasn't that. You didn't get caught up with, I don't know, going on strike because you're working for the council as a bin man, and they picked on you because you were working for the council, holding down a job, married and all that business, and you were married. No, you're not married. You've got these baby mothers, and you're into drugs. You're a gangster. You're just the same yardy gangster come again, right? So this WhatsApp done as if I'm supposed to feel sympathetic. No, get lost. I'm sick of you guys. Get out. Don't give a about you. Don't care about you. You don't care about nobody else about you and your little corner. So, you know, the person who sent me the WhatsApp, I just had to say, boy, hey, you get no sympathy here. I don't care. I don't care. And I don't even want to know you because you're nasty-minded. I knew a yardy guy. And I watch him. And you know this guy, he couldn't wait to want to go behind my back to approach a girl I was chatting to. He couldn't wait. You understand? That's how they are. They always got to do something to you to have one up. He couldn't wait. I'm glad that, you know, I didn't fancy the chick. But it was moving around with him for a little bit, you know what I mean? And I think he was sizing me up to find out if I'll do, you know, willing to do coke with him. We went a couple of raves together, but, you know, I'm with this guy, and this guy's always in back off. Like, he don't want to show his face because someone's after him. And he always had a pocket full of mobile phones. Pocket full of mobile phones. I mean, we were cool. Me and him was cool, but pocket full of mobile phones. And that move, you know, then he went up to, I think he went to Birmingham after that. And I lost contact with him, but it is what it is. I'm not dissing him, but, you know, if it was my girl, that's a different thing. You know what I mean? So basically, the Deportees thing. A lot of people can't stand Britain. They can't stand, they don't learn anything about it, but everybody in England is white, and everybody in England had slaves, and therefore they're racist, and they've never asked anybody else. They wouldn't want to know an opinion from a small islander about how we see things, you know what I mean? Their national dish is everybody's national dish. They don't even know nothing about anybody else. They wouldn't know the capital. They're a bit like, they're insular, a bit like Americans. Americans don't know nothing about, they don't even know anything about themselves. You know what I mean? You ask them about America, they don't really know. It's really embarrassing, you know what I mean? And it's about being humanized, and as Paulo Freire would say, a lot of people are grown, but they don't have any knowledge of self. It's really true. It's unbelievable, you know what I mean? So, you know, I would like a mate. I've been without a mate for a long time. But sometimes just listening to a female tells me, I've been here before, I've seen this before. You're a repeater. There's nothing original about you. There is not a soul there at all. I can hear when there's no soul there, and I can look and see that there's no independent soul there. It's repeating. And bag of trouble down the road, you know what I mean? I'm sure there's a decent lady out there for me who can take my foibles and so forth, and my avaricious penchant for reading, writing, and academic discussion, and so forth. Oh yeah, I'm a randy like everybody else would be, you know what I mean? But I contextualize things, you know what I mean? And there I go with, you know what I mean? Again. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't write it like that. Because one lecturer said, you're very poetic. So I try to use the English language the best I can on paper. And I think when I listen to what I've written, quite often I'm impressed with it because it really sounds nice. And it really sounds like, ooh. Even when I do fiction, I'm like, did I write that? That's quite good. I like that story. That's kind of cool. And one of these days I'll try. My thing was to get some voice characterizations, like people who I know, and get them in the studio to read their piece and make some of my stories on a CD for schools and so forth. You could put that in and let your kid listen to those moral stories. I'll do a video on my concept. It's my concept, and I'll show you what it is, and people will understand what it is I've done. And everything takes money. You need money to be able to get certain things off the ground. But if I get some of these short stories that I've got voiced over with everybody and get everybody to do their bit, we shall see. Now, when it came to fiction, I started to write my own fiction by rewriting versions of. Sorry, I drifted into that. I ought not to do that, and it's something that I've done. I think I was told I do that in my essay writing, early essay writing. You don't signpost when you're going to go into another topic. You just drift into it. So that's something I'm guilty of doing in writing, rather than this signposting it and letting you know, put it into that subject. I'll introduce you to this new topic or new theme on this broadcast. And I think I'm waffling. I think a lot of the waffling is really, I should have put an end to the Deportees story. And pretty much kind of did. But I didn't actually officially say, well, this is a new subject and I'm going to be talking about writing. So, I'm very disappointed with the microphone being behind my head, because at some point it slipped and ended up behind my head. And I'm hoping it's not done the same thing here. Well, no, it's here this time. So there may be an interruption in the broadcast, and I'm so sorry for that, but I'm not going to tarry with it any longer. It's just an update, and I'm trying to get to do more regular. We'll see how it goes. So with that, I bid you farewell. Until next time, I have been your host, IQbian Organis.